Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff.
The thing that happened is Tupac's family is reportedly deciding to investigate the rumors that Diddy was involved in Tupac's.
Oh my gosh, you won't believe the bombshell I'm about to drop. Diddy, yes, the Diddy, the music mogul and cultural icon, is now facing earth-shattering accusations that could demolish his empire. But here's the real tea. One of the people rumored to testify against him is a woman he secretly adopted. A woman who grew up under his roof, completely hidden from the public eye, is allegedly ready to spill everything she knows about Diddy. Her revelations could destroy everything we thought we knew about him.
Today, just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
But hold on.
An adopted daughter? Since when? That's what makes this story so twisted. Unlike his other children living their best lives on red carpets and Instagram, this young woman has been kept completely hidden. Some insiders whisper she wasn't just kept private, she was deliberately erased from public knowledge. According to shocking rumors, Diddy had his reasons. Dark, disturbing reasons that could expose the sinister side of his life. This woman's name, or at least what she goes by now, is Nina Monroe. Not exactly a name you'd associate with Diddy's family, right? She's completely reinvented herself, desperately trying to escape her traumatic past. Sources describe Nina as someone who spent years distancing herself from the world she grew up in, cutting ties, even changing her appearance to avoid being recognized. But honey, the past always catches up, and now Nina is reportedly ready to speak. If these rumors are true, her testimony could expose secrets that Diddy has spent decades and millions to keep buried.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
Let me explain how Nina got tangled in this mess. According to my sources, people who were there, Nina wasn't adopted through normal channels. No court filings, no paparazzi announcements, no magazine spreads. She just appeared one day, plucked from obscurity and dropped into a world of unimaginable wealth and control. Some claim she was taken in as a favor to someone in Diddy's inner circle, while others hint her origins might be connected to one of his complicated relationships. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. Nina was deliberately kept far from the spotlight, raised in total secrecy within Diddy's tightly controlled world.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Her life was a contradiction, utterly glamorous, yet suffocatingly controlled. Imagine growing up in massive mansions surrounded by luxury, but knowing your every move was watched, every word monitored. According to household staff, Nina lived under incredibly strict rules. She couldn't attend regular schools or make friends outside Diddy's carefully controlled circle. Her contact with the outside world was restricted to the point of isolation, and despite all that wealth, sources say Nina's childhood was anything but carefree. Fast forward to today, and Nina reportedly has shocking details about what really happened in Diddy's inner world. Details that align perfectly with the accusations now mounting against him. If what I'm hearing is true, Nina witnessed things that would make your skin crawl. Some sources claim she was a silent witness to the disturbing power dynamics that ruled Diddy's world. From how he allegedly controlled everyone around him to behavior that's now being investigated. Others suggest she personally endured mistreatment, though she's keeping those details private for now.
A U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male workers across state lines to take part in recorded performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
The timing is fascinating. Nina's alleged decision to testify comes right as lawsuits and criminal charges have been filed against Diddy, painting a disturbing portrait of a man whose power may have been used for truly sinister purposes. Prosecutors are building a case with dozens of witnesses, many ready to share stories of manipulation, coercion, and worse. And now, Nina stepping forward could be the final nail in the coffin. Her testimony wouldn't just come from someone who knew Diddy casually, it would come from someone who lived under his roof, who saw his private life up close, who has insights that literally no one else could provide.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there.
But let's not forget the other players. Rumors are flying about more of Diddy's children, some known, others not, who might also be pulled into the spotlight. While his public kids like Christian and the twins have mostly stood by their father, insiders hint there could be other, lesser-known children who've kept their distance for reasons that may soon become painfully clear. Could they have their own stories? Could they back up Nina's claims? The possibilities are endless and the stakes couldn't be higher.
Understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
And that's not all. There's the matter of new allegations being prepared against Diddy. Legal experts say the floodgates are about to burst open, with dozens of witnesses coming forward. Some are industry insiders, others are women who had personal interactions with him. The sheer number of people willing to speak suggests a much bigger, more disturbing story, one that goes far beyond what's already been revealed.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment, as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
As this legal battle intensifies, the focus is shifting toward the bigger picture. This isn't just about one man's alleged actions. It's about the entire system that allowed him to operate unchecked for so long. Nina's potential testimony, combined with other accounts, could expose a network of enablers who turned a blind eye to questionable behavior in exchange for money, power, or access. And if the rumors about Nina's story are even half true, her words could be the tipping point that brings this entire house of cards crashing down. But here's where things get more twisted. Diddy's legal team has been working overtime to discredit these claims, painting the allegations as baseless and financially motivated. They're portraying Diddy as a loving father and respected entrepreneur, arguing his success has made him a target. Still, the overwhelming number of accusations and the alleged evidence make it nearly impossible to dismiss this as simple greed or revenge. And with Nina, who has nothing to gain and everything to lose, reportedly stepping forward, it becomes even harder to ignore these disturbing claims.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in the jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
The anticipation surrounding Nina's rumored testimony is absolutely electric. Will she share details that back up what others have said? Will she reveal new information that could transform the case? And most importantly, will her courage inspire others, perhaps even some of Diddy's other children or former associates, to finally break their silence? The answers could completely reshape not just the trial, but the entire legacy of a man whose name was once synonymous with success.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. How long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2 years?
As the walls close in on Diddy, the spotlight on his past grows increasingly intense. The revelations coming to light don't just paint a picture of one man's alleged actions, they expose the culture of silence and complicity that has surrounded him for decades. And if Nina's story is connected to these broader claims, it could truly mark the beginning of the end for a man who once seemed untouchable. This brings us to another layer of this scandal, one that digs into Diddy's broader history and the troubling patterns throughout his career. From whispers of control and manipulation to the mysterious circumstances surrounding those who've fallen out of his orbit, the shadows around Diddy's life are growing darker by the day. And as more people step forward, the question is, just how deep does this story really go?
But there's also strategic reasons for the prosecutors to want him to have co-defendants, because right now he hasn't waived his right to a speedy trial. which would force prosecutors to take up the trial pretty quick, which they actually might not be ready to do. But if they supersede him and have co-defendants with him, it makes it a lot easier to pursue a trial continuance without him waiving his speedy trial right.
Let's pick up where we left off, because trust me, this only gets more intense. If you thought the revelations about Diddy's secret daughter were shocking, wait until we dive into his darker past. This isn't just about one person's allegations. It's about a pattern that stretches back decades, and with every new detail, it's becoming harder to look away. So let's rewind to Diddy's early years. From outside, it looked like the ultimate success story, a young entrepreneur building an empire. He was the golden boy of hip-hop, turning Bad Boy Records into a cultural powerhouse and launching stars like Biggie Smalls and Mace. But behind that facade, there were whispers, disturbing rumors that Diddy's rise wasn't as clean-cut as he wanted everyone to believe. From the beginning, there were claims of intimidation, manipulation, and power plays that went far beyond the music.
Yeah, but so there's still, I mean, it's crazy too because there's still more happening in court. Like, I mean, everything is still active even though we're not hearing about it as much anymore. And the people may be fatigued like we talked about prior to.
People who worked with him in those early days describe a man who was as ruthless as charismatic. He had this ability to make people feel like they were part of something bigger, only to discard them when they were no longer useful. And if you dared cross him, well, his former associates have stories that will send chills down your spine.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes. This was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
Kim wasn't just another ex. She was central to Diddy's life for over a decade and by many accounts knew him better than almost anyone. Friends described her as strong, private, and fiercely protective of her children. But they've also hinted at a relationship that was far from perfect. According to her former lawyer, Kim once described Diddy as controlling and claimed he hired private investigators to follow her. He was jealous and obsessed with her, her lawyer said. And let's not forget the alleged conditions during one breakup, a rat-infested apartment reportedly paid for by Diddy. It's a shocking contrast to the luxury she enjoyed when they were together, raising serious questions about how far he would go to maintain control.
I mean, that fact in of itself is a big deal because when you're talking about going back in time and talking about these allegations from other alleged victims, you know, there's not a lot of police reports, but you guys actually have one. And is that going to be revealed? Are we going to be able to see it?
Yes, as soon as I file my lawsuit in civil court, I will be attaching the...
Then there's the issue of the so-called freak-offs, which Kim reportedly wanted absolutely no part of. According to her lawyer, Kim was too private and too classy to participate in the activities Diddy is now accused of orchestrating. Yet the allegations paint a very different picture of the man who called himself a family man. Prosecutors describe a world where power and influence were used to manipulate people into doing things they never would have agreed to. It's a world Kim wanted nothing to do with. But could her knowledge have put her in danger? That's the haunting question that plagues those who were close to her.
And it's like, it was the same thing Kim was going through. The same thing, bro. Kim was going through the same thing. The beatings, you know what I'm saying?
And let's not forget the other suspicious circumstances throughout Diddy's career. There's the infamous nightclub shooting in 1999, which led to his arrest alongside Jennifer Lopez. Although acquitted, the case raised serious questions about the environment he created. Witnesses claimed Diddy offered them money to take the blame, a claim he's always denied. But the fact remains, wherever Diddy went, trouble followed. Now, with today's charges, it feels like all those whispers are finally catching up. The allegations paint a picture of a man who spent decades using his power in deeply troubling ways. Prosecutors have accused Diddy of running an operation that exploited countless people. The details are shocking, from coerced participation in private gatherings to blackmail to keep people silent. And the most chilling part, these allegations go back years, suggesting a pattern of behavior. The number of people coming forward is staggering. Dozens of witnesses ready to testify, including former employees, industry insiders, and women directly affected by his actions. Some have reportedly been sitting on their stories for years, afraid to speak out because of Diddy's influence. But now, with the legal system closing in, the floodgates have opened. And if even half is true, it could end Diddy's career and possibly his freedom.
You know, he gets trafficking because he took her to different states and had her perform acts with different, male and different people, sometimes against her will.
But here's where things take an even darker turn. People closest to Diddy are now being implicated in covering up his alleged actions. Prosecutors suggest Diddy didn't act alone, that he had a network of enablers who helped maintain his power and silence critics. These aren't just random employees, we're talking high-level associates who allegedly knew exactly what was happening and looked the other way. It's power protecting power, raising uncomfortable questions about how many people were complicit in keeping Diddy's secrets.
Do I think? Yeah. Every man possibly is capable. I think he's very capable of doing it. It's in his character. That's who he is. That's what comes with power. That's what comes with arrogance. That's what comes with, what makes him, power. That's just the selfishness to make you be like that.
Of course, Diddy's legal team is fighting back hard. They've dismissed the allegations as baseless and financially motivated. Sean Diddy Combs is an icon and philanthropist, his lawyer stated. These claims are nothing more than an attempt to tarnish his legacy. But the evidence piling up is hard to ignore. From testimonies to multiple lawsuits, this isn't just about one or two people with a grudge. This is about a culture of control and exploitation that has allegedly flourished for far too long.
Person that really put their hands on women really is men who have feminine traits. So, it really takes a coward to put his hands on a woman. So, a man is so strong enough, we can just walk away. You can do, it's so many different things that you can do other than get upset, put your hands on a woman. But that comes from a man who's not quite a grown man.
So where does this leave us? With each revelation, we're getting closer to the truth, but there's still so much we don't know. What really happened to Kim Porter? How many people were involved in keeping Diddy's alleged actions secret? And perhaps most importantly, how will this end? Will Diddy finally be held accountable, or will his team find a way to spin the narrative once again? As we wait for the next chapter, one thing is clear: the world is watching, and with more people stepping forward every day, it's only a matter of time before all the pieces fall into place. The question is, will Diddy's empire survive, or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for one of the most powerful figures in entertainment history? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more updates on this absolutely riveting story.